How we doing, everyone? My name is Nick Simi. I wanted to make this video to walk through the NSCA's website for the Certified Performance and Sports Scientist certification, or the CPSS certification. The NSCA does a great job at providing you all the information that you need and all the resources that you would need for this exam. I highly recommend that you check it out on your own, but I'm going to walk through some of the resources that they have so you guys have an expectation of what the exam costs, what are the different content breakdowns, what are the eligibility criteria in order to sit for the exam, and then maybe some information on how many questions are on the exam, things like that. So again, what is a certified performance and sports scientist? They provide that, the different sports science careers that are offered to you in the field. Awesome. The CPSS application and exam registration, a lot of times people want to know how much it costs before, so they provide that up front, which is great. So they have the application fee, and then there's differences between the member exam registration fee and the non-member exam registration fee. I highly recommend becoming a member to the National Strength and Conditioning Association. It gives you many more benefits than just a discounted exam registration fee. You have access to different certifications, different membership opportunities, different professional development opportunities and events that you can attend, just to name a few. So again, I highly recommend that you become a member. In this case, you can see there's also a discounted rate. To the right here, you look at the qualifications. You want to make sure that you're eligible for the CPSS exam before you go through and submit all this supporting documentation. So there's different eligibility routes. This might be a little bit more pertinent to here in the States and might be a little bit different elsewhere, but there's three different routes. You have the bachelor's degree route, which would require you to have 3 years of experience at the full professional experience beyond just your bachelor's degree. Then you have the master's degree route in a sports science or closely related field, which I'll outline below. That also requires some experience in the form of 12 weeks or 480 hours. And then the doctoral degree route in a sports science or closely related field that doesn't require any additional professional experience from there. So if you scroll down, for instance, in the bachelor's degree field, or even the graduate degree or your master's degree field, here are some of the qualifying degrees. So not necessarily going through each one, but you can see them here and see it how it relates to your situation. And then the required documentation for qualifying degrees. So this kind of breaks down the three different avenues and then what you would need to submit to the NSCA for supporting documentation. Going down a little bit further, you can see non-qualifying degrees. So if you don't see a degree that closely fits to maybe what you got in your undergraduate coursework, no need to worry. There's other areas of acceptable coursework. As you can see, biomechanics and human movement, physiological disciplines. There's different examples for each of these: coaching, psychology, nutrition, strength and conditioning, and training theory, and research methods. So there might be, again, some of these that fall under the non-qualifying degrees, and it just changes a little bit the required documentation for you, which is outlined here. All of these require CPR and advanced life support means, or AED certification requirements. And that is, again, things that you want to have outlined and understand before you go through and submit. So how do we prepare for the exam? So you know that you're eligible for the exam. Next is planning to take the CPSS exam. So go over the eligibility requirements that we just did. Look at the scope of practice for the Certified Performance and Sports Scientists. I won't necessarily touch on that today, but that's hyperlinked here in blue. An awesome resource and community is the NSCA Sports Science and Performance Technology Special Interest Group. A lot of awesome practitioners are leading that have many, many years of experience in the sports science field. So I highly recommend that from a professional development and networking standpoint. And then again, some of the other points there that might help you study and prepare along with our group here, or hope to provide value through our group. And then step 2 is get the required study materials. So the first and most important is getting the NSCA's Essential Sports Science textbook. And then there's also additional resources to consider that would help you digest some of that information from the main text. So again, there's some of the study options and then application for the exam. So again, like we had seen earlier in the pricing, there's a $25 application fee, and this might take about 30 days to be processed in order to be granted eligibility to sit for the exam. So you can see that there. So if we go back and then we go apply. So again, we want to make sure that we read the certification handbook, we select our eligibility route, and then again, here you can see step 3, once we have those first 2 steps down, to submit your application and eligibility documents. So there's an application that you have to fill out. There's course verification form to make sure that your coursework is eligible, falls in one of those basically 4 routes. Full-time experience, depending on, your undergraduate degree, part-time experience for your master's degree, and then a transcripts. And then you can see the registration. So once you have all that information, which is sent off to the NSCA, so as you can see here, documents may be emailed to cpss@nsca.com. Once you hear back, again, within 30 days, you will need to schedule and take your exam within 120 days of receiving your authorization to test email. So again, it's not something where you submit the packet and you can take the exam a year later. There's a time component into how you have to move and take the exam in a 120-day window. So again, another really important thing to note. And then again, it's going to talk about becoming a member and saving on registration. There's many other perks to being a member. So that's that area here. There. Then I also wanted go down a little bit further. Oops. There we go. So this is looking at the CPSS exam description, or looking at the exam itself. So we go down here a little bit farther. So the CPSS exam content summary. So you have these main domains here. So the exam domains in the cross-cutting concepts, which are the ones in blue, but the main domains are training theory and process, needs analysis, acute and chronic monitoring, and the communication and education. And there's these cross-cutting concepts, scientific disciplines, assessment technology, and research and process that each go with the main domains there. So that's kind of the content breakdown of what to expect for your questions, and then what are the different items on the exam. How many total exam items are there? There are 115 total questions. 100 of those are scored, and then 15 are pre-test. You have 2 hours and 45 minutes to complete the entire exam. So in order to complete 115 questions. So that is, again, a great look at the exam question breakdown. How much time do you have? And then if you scroll up here to the top, right, so the exam scoring section here, highlighted: to pass any NSCA certification exam, you must earn a scaled score of 70 or higher. And there's a scoring page here, and it will talk to you about their scaled scoring methods, which I'm not necessarily going to go into. But again, this is where you can find more information about how they come up with that scaled score. And then some of the information that they provided here. So since the launch of the CPSS in 2021, the 2022 exam information was sent out, and 65% of first-time candidates passed the CPSS exam. So again, definitely something that requires hard work, requires a plan, requires dedication, but definitely something that is doable. So again, I hope that provides you guys with information about the CPSS exam, the eligibility criteria, the content and what to expect, how many questions are on it, and then the breakdown. So if you guys have any other information or questions regarding the exam, feel free to send those questions in to the Facebook community. If not, thank you guys for your time, and hope this provides value.